Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Market Talk. We're delighted to be joined this week by Andrew Green, who is the Chief Executive of the Craft Guild of Chefs, and also Ewen, who is the UK Sales Manager for Foster and Gamko. Thank you both for joining us. Since we recorded our last session a week ago, we've obviously had the big announcement over the weekend that the UK is to go, or England is to go into a national lockdown for the next 4 weeks. Andrew, let's start with you. What has been the reaction to that at the Craft Guild, and what is the mood like amongst your membership base at the moment?
I think the mood is as it would be for everyone, really. It's frustration. The fact is, obviously, the whole pandemic is an issue for everybody, not just hospitality sector, but for chefs out there who they've been sitting around doing nothing. They've gone back to work. Restaurants and hotels have slowly started to reopening, and people could sort of sense a bit of new normal coming along. Then obviously with this new shutdown, it's put sort of the kibosh on it again, and now we're going to have a situation where you're going to have chefs who were just getting back into work now going back to doing nothing, and so there's a real air of frustration, and basically chefs love cooking, they love to feed people. People want to go out and eat as well, which is frustrating for them. But you know, we are hearing from our members that that they're not liking it, but at the same time, they're not really sure which way to go.
Sure, yeah. And I guess it's the same for a lot of your customers, a lot of the Foster and Gamko customers. They're in exactly the same boat. What about you as a business? What is your reaction been to the news at the weekend? And do you expect to be operating differently over the next 4 weeks?
I think we first of all sympathise with businesses that are having to close within lockdown, and we also admire the resilience of a lot of people as well in adapting to offering different options. So, be it takeaways, cook at home, these types of things. As Andrew has said there, though, it is the uncertainty of it. The second lockdown doesn't feel like the first lockdown to us. And the feedback that we're getting currently from our customer base is they're trying to work out over the coming last few days and the coming days to actually what they're going to be doing moving forward. I mean, from us as a business, you know, we are well stocked from componentry and things at that point of view, so we can make whatever the market demands of us. But some of the challenges that we've been facing, and you know, all our contemporaries are facing as well as other businesses there, even to service right now. We've got orders on the system, and what we've been doing since Monday morning is calling people. Are you going to be open to accept your order? Do we have to push it back? What's it going to? So as Andrew said before, the uncertainty is really what the most difficult thing, not knowing what we're doing going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like you said that obviously sites, restaurants are having to adapt themselves, but what about Foster? How have you been adapting over these months, and again with the latest lockdown news?
Yeah, the latest lockdown news, we're not planning to operate any differently as right now. We are listening to our customers. We are there to service their needs and requirements, and okay, hospitality in general has been hit really hard by this. So restaurants, bars in particular have been hammered by it. But there are market sectors within our industry that we service that are still open. So when you look at schools are not closing, universities aren't closing, hospitals aren't closing as well. But we still need to be able to look at them. But also, even within the food sector, takeaways are still going to be operating. QSR is still very, very busy out there just now. So we will continue to operate. Okay, if we have to adapt the products we manufacture, then fine. But as a UK manufacturer, the advantage we have is that we can take that piece of stainless steel and make it into whatever a customer requires. If it's an undercounter, an upright freezer, anything like that. So it's not as if we're having to import products, and which I feel sorry for, they have to stock a lot of products. They don't know what the demand is going to be. We can adapt with manufacturing to that at that time.
Yeah, well, that's a small ray of hope in these crazy times anyway. Andrew, coming back to you, obviously the Craft Guild has got a long and illustrious history. So how do you think the organisation itself has coped with this unprecedented year? And do you think it's going to emerge from all of this as a different entity?
Yeah, I think we've coped well. Obviously, we had a whole calendar of events coming into 2020, a lot of which we've had to either postpone or change. We still managed to get away with doing National Chef of the Year and Young National Chef of the Year. But again, we had to do it in a different way. And I think that what we're all doing within the hospitality sector is looking at what we do, seeing how we can do it, but just with a change. In fact, last week and this week we ran 2 heats of the British Student Culinary Championships, which normally is a live-based competition, but this year we did it via Zoom with judges in colleges around the UK, and it worked really, really well. And for us, it's about embracing that next young generation of chefs, keeping their enthusiasm, their want to compete in competitions. Also, we've created a mentoring scheme for our members as well, because we realise that obviously there's well-being, there's mental challenges, etc., etc. So as an organisation, what we felt is to give back to our own members was to create a mentoring scheme with some really established, experienced guys mentoring, and it could be anyone. It could be youngsters who are looking to go into competitions, people who have got anxiety, they want to get promotion, how they're coping with the stresses and strains. So as an organisation, what we've done is we've taken what we've done over the last 130 odd years, we've developed that, so we've tried to keep the same but in a different style, and then bolting on additional resources, if you like.
Yeah, the mentor scheme, Andrew, is obviously a very interesting development that's happened in this past week or so, and it really reinforces a lot of the great work that you do with young chefs and new talent coming into the industry. How important is the timing of that particular scheme?
I think it's really important. I mean, we know that well-being and mental health has been talked about for the last few years in such a way, and there's some fantastic organisations out there who are all doing their piece. But for us, we had some roundtable discussions, and this came up on several occasions. So what we felt is that rather than just sitting there and let everyone else do it, let's ourselves do it, because for some of our chef members, it's not just about the mental stresses of lockdown and such like, but it's actually, how can I get promoted? How can I move forward? How can I do better in competitions? So for us, I guess with lockdown, because we didn't become quieter, but we sort of had a bit more time, we were able to develop some of the things that we've been sort of putting on the back burner for many years. So I think timing of it, Andrew, was really, really important, so that we could get out there and we can make sure that our voice was heard amongst everybody else's.
And what's the next step with that scheme now? How will that work? Because I know you have a number of leading chefs that have put their name to it. Presumably there'll be a chance for up-and-coming chefs to work with those guys.
Yeah. Basically, as you say, National Mentoring Day was last week, so we decided to launch it on that very day, which was quite fortuitous in many ways. But what we're doing is we are putting that out on social media, on our website as we speak. So basically, our members can apply to have some mentorship, and what will happen is we will match what they're looking for with the correct mentor. Because we've got about 21 mentors who have all gone through our own internal mentoring program. So rather than just having chef mentors, we've ensured we've given them the right tools and the toolkit to give these people the right information. We're there to listen to them, to give them some advice, but more than anything, point them in the right direction, get them to think. We want it to be 80% about them and 20% about the mentor. So that's going to be going out as we speak. But it's a very exciting, very different. It's a new challenge for us. But it's one of those things that I guess that lockdown has given us the ability to be able to sort of pull to the forefront.
Great stuff. We like some positive news in these times. Ewen, just coming back to you, the whole ITW group has accordingly also introduced some new initiatives. So they launched a financing division in the UK, I believe, earlier this year. So how important has that been to the business, and what sort of uptake have you had?
So it's something that we have had as a service for a number of years now. Both ourselves, Hobart, Gamko, and also Avery Berkel have had access to that, and it's something we've promoted reasonably well. But in times of more prosperity, the take up hasn't been quite as large as it is now. And we actually had in 2019 we had a fantastic summer of last year. And to give you an idea from a numbers perspective, we are 20% up in 2020 on 2019 figures. So we probably looked at the market coming into this, and this is something that was planned for a number of years, but we probably speeded it up through in reaction to the current crisis within the industry. We all know that businesses still require cooking equipment, warewashing, scales, and refrigeration as well to operate. These are essential pieces of equipment within a kitchen themselves, and chefs can't operate without them. But the difficulty is that finance, as it is just now, is very tight on the ground, and people are trying to pay their staff, let alone having to buy bits of new equipment. So we recognised there was an opportunity to help the market and also help ourselves too within that. But the industry credit is self-financed. It's financed by ITW. We're not using a third party within that. So it is in-house. There's no admin fees in there. No deposits are required, subject to credit check in there too. We have introduced a 90-day payment holiday to try and get people through the next 3 months, which has helped. And we've also extended it from 1 year into 2 years potentially. So these are all things that are helping, but the reaction has been incredible. We were surprised. We actually ran the numbers the other day, and to be over 20% up in some of our areas, even within Avery Berkel, even higher than that than they had before, because retail is still a very strong side, but they're still seeing some great strength going forward. And obviously we have extended that offer, just free credit offer, into March of next year too.
Yes, yeah, I saw that recently. So, say the 0% finance deals, they can now choose a 3-month payment holiday until next March. So, was that completely necessary to add it right going up to March? Was there demand for that? What's the reaction been?
I think we obviously initially put that to the end of October, and that was us thinking that we would come out of this towards the end of October. We would try and get a good run up till Christmas. And I'm really interested to feeling from Andrew on what he thinks is going to happen at Christmas time as well. So initially it was, let's run it up to October time, and it became very apparent that we weren't coming out of this as quickly as we all hoped we would. So it was a very natural thing to say, well, let's extend on the payment holiday from that. And it was done very much to support the industry, and it was done because we found that was such an important positive part of the offer that we had to do that. Bear in mind that there is an appetite for real top quality equipment out there. People want to buy the best of equipment they possibly can. If you can't finance that, then can you afford that? So you may well move down levels into something that's short-termism. And short-term products cost more than the long-term, because you have to replace them 2 or 3 times, and they cost more to run as well. This obviously offers our customers the ability to buy a quality product and have it for a product of longevity as well. And very well received.
Just looking at sort of some of the wider trends that we've seen really since March, the areas that kind of have done well during such a difficult time, it's been things like delivery kitchens and dark kitchens, delivery services and takeaway and so on. Given sort of that background, has that affected the type of refrigeration that's in demand at the moment, or is being purchased out there?
Yeah, it is. And particularly we found at the very start, and we have continued manufacturing all the way through the process, but we found that there was a huge increase in a take-up in freezers all the way through this. And to give you an idea, we would sell 3-4 fridges for every 1 freezer out there as a rule. It's kind of 80-20 rule that ITW work with. But that has most definitely changed, and I think it's changed for a variety of reasons. One is potentially about product availability. People want to store product for longer because they're not sure whether those products are going to be available for delivery, whether deliveries are even going to be able to happen within the UK, and they also don't want to lose stock longer term as well. So people are probably moving more to a frozen good from a fresh goods at that time. But we also saw a large uptake in products from the public sector as well, as unfortunately their demand for their services has increased. So some of the larger Nightingale style hospitals have required products to be delivered to them as well, not just refrigeration, but right across the whole range of products and storage as well. I think cabinets have been a far larger part of our business than maybe a walk-in product there. As I said, we have had huge numbers of take-up of the interest-free credit alongside those particular products too.
Yeah.
One thing I would like to add that I never mentioned earlier on is that the health and well-being of our staff is the absolute #1 thing within our business. Social distancing within the factory, health and safety, new regimes, but also when it comes to customers as well. From a delivery and install perspective, we need to be very aware of what needs to happen on site as well to keep our customers safe, as well as our delivery drivers and our own staff safe too.
Yeah, sure. No, very, very important. And Andrew, just to pick up on the theme, some of the themes that Ewen mentioned there in terms of the way chefs have had to kind of adapt to the situations that Ewen has described and what that has meant for, you know, equipment usage and uptake. When you look at the market now, do you get any sense that what's happened over the past 8 or 9 months will lead to a permanent change in the way that sort of food is produced and the way that kitchens are designed and operated?
I think so, yeah. I think it's for a couple of reasons, really. The fact is, obviously, there's a lot of restaurants out there who weren't used to doing takeaways, who are now doing takeaways and meal kits and boxes like that. Basically, I think that if that sort of goes well for that particular restaurant, there are certain ones that will actually carry on doing that. And I think that meal kits and takeaways have their own place. They have virtues, definitely. So there'll definitely be that moving forward. But I think that we've seen, obviously, sadly, a lot of chefs who have lost jobs, who have now gone out of the industry. They've moved away from hospitality for various reasons. And we had a massive chef shortage at the beginning of the year, and now we seem to have an influx of chefs. I think that is sort of a bit of a suck and see, really. We're not really sure how that's going to go, but with so much talent having moved away, they've gone into other areas, other disciplines. We are going to see a different drive in that way as well, if I'm honest with you. I think that you're looking at the college students now, the college students who left this year, who normally would have had positions to go to, just literally were just sitting around, and they still are with nothing. So I think that restaurants, they are looking at how they're going to staff restaurants, how they're going to change things. I think picking up on what Ewan said, you're right. A lot more people that I know of have been buying freezers rather than fridges, because actually they can bulk produce certain things and reutilize it in different ways. So I think we're in for a massive turnaround moving forward, and what the new normal becomes, who knows. Obviously, as we enter 2021, we're still going to be in the tail end of the pandemic. Well, one hopes it's the tail end, and we then need to see how we're going to develop through 2021 going into 2022.
Yeah, so I mean, Andrew, with all of these kind of the redundancies and the restructuring and sadly losing so many talented chefs from the industry, how's the spirit within your membership base at the moment? Is there like a unifying message that you're getting for your members?
It's interesting really, because I think that chefs are a very rare breed. They sort of almost hunting packs really. They do really gel together. And in these uncertain times, we have seen so much friendship forming, and that's one of the reasons why we've been doing roundtables. Social media for chefs is absolutely up there. And you're seeing all these messages of support to people, to each other, saying, keep going. Something will come around the corner. I think that chefs really are a positive breed. There are obviously the tail end of that where things aren't quite so good, where people have already sadly lost their jobs, or they're coming to or as fella has come to the end, they're being told there's nothing at the end. So we obviously have a mixed bag, but in general, people I think they are staying positive as they can be, really. And I think that goes, and certainly, I'm sure Ewen will probably back me up. I mean, certainly a lot of dealings we have with our business partners who are in different disciplines of manufacture and supply of equipment and such like, we're seeing the same amongst those as well. And where they can, they are supporting chefs. So there's this real sort of come together British Bulldog spirit, which is really good to see.
Yeah. I agree with that, Andrew. I think the spirit out there just now, the come together, the empathy people have for each other, and even competitors are coming together and looking to offer levels of, I'm saying, support in there too for each other. I think that British Bulldogs type spirit is exactly the thing that's going to help us get through that. I would also like to see from a positive perspective, there is definitely an appetite still for the public to want to eat out, and that's not going to stop, and that will come back. And we saw that with the Help Out to Eat Out scheme, where people flocked back to restaurants, and I think people will want to do that again in a safe, hygienic way, most definitely. And I think that's something we'll have to take on as a business, as an industry that are going forward in there, to give people confidence to come back. But it takes a long time to be a skilled chef, and it's not something that you just go into and learn in 2 or 3 months. It takes years. In fact, you're always learning, aren't you, in that? So I just hope that these guys who have that level of expertise and knowledge aren't lost to the industry, and that's something that we're very aware of too. And when people come to us and ask us for help and advice on what we can do, what we can't do, and even looking at the interest-free credit again, then we're in a position where we're listening and helping where we can.
I think for me, I saw an article on LinkedIn yesterday which I thought typified it, and it was an article written by Burger King saying, please come to us, but also go to McDonald's, KFC, Nando. And it was like, and they were saying, look, we know it's not for us to advertise our competitors, but we want you, the people, to go out there and to keep eating out. Now, it doesn't matter whether you're a hospitality professional in a McDonald's or KFC or a Michelin-star restaurant. People want to eat out. They need to eat out, and they need to support the hospitality industry wholeheartedly.
Mm-hmm. So, and I think also, just from our point of view, we're seeing a lot of multinationals staying open, even though they're probably not making money just now, and it's trying to instill confidence in the marketplace to say, we're still open, we can come to us, we're putting our money where our mouth is out there, and there'll be lots of these businesses not making money right now, but keeping their name in the public domain, but also supporting the industry in the whole.
Good stuff. I think we're probably right at the end of our time now. So I'll just close with one quick question for both of you. What do you expect going forwards? What do you think the main challenges will be going into next year? Andrew, I'll start off with you.
I think the main challenges really are for restaurants and hotels to be able to open up in a safe, positive way. for obviously government support where needed, so that we can obviously get the public back into restaurants, to create a new normal in the first part of the year, and obviously then throughout 2021 to develop all that, so that actually we have a situation where restaurants and chefs and manufacturers are all back there doing what they do best, feeding people, looking after people, so that people can go out and whining and dining, really. And I think that's really, in a snapshot, what we really need to see happening.
Okay, and same question to you, Ewen.
Yeah, I mean, from our point of view, and I think the industry point of view, the uncertainty is the one thing that it's very difficult. We all work off of historical data. We work off of knowing what the footfall is going to be in the summertime, in the wintertime, and the sooner we can remove some of that level of uncertainty, the better. The better people can start to plan what they're doing as businesses going forward. It's supporting the businesses that are struggling just now, and talking to them, keeping those lines of communication are super important. Going into next year, it's about building confidence into next year, exactly what Andrew had said. If we continue to build confidence within the marketplace that it's a safe area to go out and eat, and that's what we need to do. I think we'll have incredibly tough times get into the first half, particularly of next year. But I think that we are such a resilient industry in total. I think we'll come out the other side and we'll have a lot of learnings from this and going forward.
Great. Well, thank you very much to both of you for joining us for today's episode of Market Talk. Wish you both luck going forward. Hopefully this 4-week lockdown will go nice and quickly, and there'll be some hope for the industry at the end of it. Thanks once again, and we'll be back next week for another episode of Market Talk.